Have you ever wondered where the coffee that you drink in the mornings, the sugar cane you put in your pastries, or the flu that kept you in bed came from? Most of these items can be linked back to the Columbian Exchange. Now, I believe this information is important for you all to know simply because the items we utilize day to day, or foods that we eat or drink, may have never existed had this historical event never occurred. I feel like I am credible enough to speak on this topic because I have researched and conducted research on sites such as Britannica and World History Encyclopedia. Okay? And from this speech today, you will learn about the Columbian Exchange's historical significance, some goods and diseases it introduced into the New World, and some of its impacts it still has on us today. Now, starting with the historical significance. This exchange basically led to global interaction. Now, if you don't know what the Columbian Exchange was, let me explain it to you. It was basically the interchange of goods, culture, people, diseases between the Old World and the New World. And whenever I say Old World, I am including Europe, Asia, and Africa. And whenever I talk about the New World, I'm talking about the Americas that Christopher Columbus discovered in 1492. So it's been a while back since then. Right? And according to Britannica June 2025, the Columbian Exchange impacted global history by introducing new crops, which were then evolved and bettered our agriculture and diets. So now that I've talked about the historical significance of this, I will now talk about some goods and diseases that were introduced. Right? Now we can see in this visual we have the New World and then we have the Old World and some of the items that they each introduced to each other. So the Old World brought over to the New World things like grapes, bananas, and sugarcane, whereas the New World brought over tomatoes, corn, but most importantly, tobacco. Tobacco is major in this simply because the Europeans loved it and they got addicted to it and all they wanted was more tobacco. It even got the name Europeans' gold. Now it's important because it helped Americans in their economy because it was a major wealth maker for the early American colonies. Right? And of course that's the good side, but there's also a bad side. The bad side is diseases were also introduced to the New World from this. Things like measles, smallpox, and the flu were all some of them, which attacked heavily and killed many Native American populations. According to World History Encyclopedia of May 19th, 2022, Native populations were wiped by disease outbreaks, which allowed the Spanish, later than the Europeans, to conquer the indigenous populations. Now that I've talked about the historical significance and some of the goods and diseases that were introduced into the New World, now I want to go further into some of the impacts that are still currently affecting us today. Now, the major component of this all is it affected our medical world. We were introduced into items such as garlic and ginseng, which are still in our modern medicine, and it basically set the foundation of our pharmacology. Right? Another thing is our diets. We were introduced to new wheats, really heavy starches, sugar cane, and things of those sorts that still heavily affect a lot of people that we know with diseases such as, or just conditions like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. Another thing that it helped us with was just our medical research on pandemics and just how to handle them. Clearly, we never know how to perfectly handle a pandemic, but from past experiences, we know where to start and how to start on vaccine productions. So today I've discussed a global interchange that was a major historical event. I've discussed its historical significance, some goods and diseases it brought into the New World, and its impacts it still has on us today. So reflecting back onto the question from earlier, whether do you know where your coffee, your sugar cane, or your flu came from? Well, now you know that the Columbian Exchange changed the world that we live and experience today.